wanted to do a reaction video of the Raider game. This is my reaction. On to the next one, man. Let's go. The next one is the one we should win because next week is against the Miami Dolphins. And I think their quarterback actually is hurt. Tua from Alabama. He's a very popular quarterback. He was a rookie last year, played pretty good. But he's hurt. It's the second week of the season. Next week is the third week. They got to come to Vegas. They got to come over here to our home game. And I think they might be 0-2 now, or 1-1. But we are 2-0, baby. That's my reaction. Of course, I got my notes here. Got some notes for the game. It's going to be sloppy. You know, I don't work for the Raiders Network, or, you know, I don't work. But anyway, my reaction. I was on Instagram right now. Shout out to my primo, my prima, which is his wife, my cousin Vince. Last week they were in Vegas for the very first opening of the season, and I went on Instagram today, and they're right there at the 50-yard line, right in front of Heinz Field, the Steelers grass. They were at the game, man. Shout out to them, doing it big. You know what I'm saying? And what a year, man. And I'm glad we were able to win for them. For any Raider fans that came from out of town and go all the way over there to Heinz Field, which is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to go watch the Raider game, that's like, if you're a baseball fan, that's like going to Wrigley Stadium or Yankee Stadium or the Boston Red Sox Stadium. Like, or that's equivalent to being like going to a Packers game. You know, that's like a stadium I would love to go. Even to Notre Dame would have been a dope stadium to go watch a football game. And Notre Dame, that's pretty epic. Michigan, you know. But anyway, got my LA hat. I don't live in Vegas, but yeah. So I just finished watching the post-game interviews. They talked to Foster Moreau, our tight end, Solomon Thomas, our defensive end, our interior defensive lineman. Talked to Derek Carr, our quarterback, John Gruden, our coach, Henry Ruggs, our wide receiver, big play Henry Ruggs, and Trayvon Mullen, our cornerback, a shutdown corner that you don't hear anything about him during the game because that means he's doing his job. When you hear about a cornerback throughout the game a lot, it's either he's doing really well or he's doing really bad. Because if you hear about a player during the game a lot, it's like, oh, he's catching the ball a lot, or somebody's catching it on him, or somebody's getting around him, he's allowing this guy to commit sacks on him, or he's throwing interceptions, or he's dropping balls, or you know what I mean? Or he's doing good. So in this case, Trayvon Mullen, I think he's shutting his guy down. You know what I'm saying? And like on a cover 3 zone, which I think we play a lot of cover 3. It's pretty simple as a cornerback because you just have the deepest. You're like, no one could get really. You're the deepest in your zone. You know what I mean? But you also play off the game. You wait for the play to develop. You're like, okay, I got the deepest guy here, and sometimes in your zone, there might not be a deep route within your zone, you know. So I'm just saying, I'm just talking about my guy Mullen, you know what I mean? Because you don't really hear about him a lot in the game because they might be not going his way, you know. So fans calling Derek Carr a moron and an idiot. So one of our Raiders correspondents or journalists, whoever is able to question these people at the end right now, the players, which would be a pretty dope job to do. Fans, they asked him, like, how was it playing at Heinz Field? How was the hostile stadium? And Derek Carr said, I was called an idiot today and a moron once. But then he also said, like, he doesn't take it personal because they're just sports fans. So he's like, you know, you might get mad at first and you look at him, you just smile, and then you realize that people are just people who work and pay for the ticket and love their team, and you're the away team, and they love just talking shit, and it's just all sports. And he's like, but once you smile at them, they just smile back like regular people. And I just thought that was funny. That was funny. And then this is what I want to start with, because throughout the week, there was a big old thing about, targeting Darren Waller 19 times, which they could just say he caught the ball 10 times, you know. But I mean, that's a stat, you know. How many times were they trying to go to him, you know? That's a stat. Thrown to, you know. How many runs did he have? How many times was the ball thrown to him? You know, that's a stat. But what they were insinuating is that Derek Carr, quarterback, was too much focused on Darren Waller, which at times I thought he was the first game. I kind of agreed with it, you know, because Darren Waller he's so tall, you just throw it high, it's hard for, that's like you have to be pretty tall. He's like 6'6", so you throw it high, it's like you're throwing it 10 feet, like if he's dunking the ball, you know? Get me? So the dude is just a matchup nightmare. He's hard to guard. Imagine being behind him trying to get the ball around him. My arms will probably barely touch his elbows. You know what I'm saying? So, and but I want to say, I mean, not that Carr went out here wanted something to prove, but Carr didn't just look for Waller this game. You get me? Like, that must have been something that they talked about, and which is fine. But also, of course, Pittsburgh Steelers was throwing out schemes to double team him and to take him away. You know, they were always leaving somebody on top of him, somebody underneath him, just focusing on Darren Waller. So, but we did it not without Waller, but we did it without Waller having a huge game. You know what I mean? But to me, I think he had a huge game. And I'll tell you why, you know, that's kind of politically correct, you know. And Gruden was talking also on this interview, and Gruden said that he was pretty tired. Like, he looked a little tired. As soon as he walked to the podium, he was like, I'm tired, guys. Like, if he's not trying to get too high, but he seemed a little like, man, he's sad or something, he's depressed, like, I know you're tired. You know, maybe just the way he plays it. He's not trying to get too high, you know what I mean? And I hope he's all right. And you got to give it up to the guy. 3rd and 10, throws the ball deep to Ruggs, or he gives the package. Like, let's see if we get the coverage we like, you know, let's run it. Let's run that play. And I mean, 3rd and 10, I don't know. As a quarterback in your head, you're saying, you know what? I know my guy's gonna get behind him. I just hope that I don't throw it too soon. It's one of those things. Like, am I throwing it too far too soon? Is he gonna be able to catch up and reach the ball? Like, I'm gonna throw it behind the safety, but is my receiver gonna be fast enough to get there? Except it's one of those things, you're throwing it as far as you can pretty much, and I hope my receiver gets there, because Derek Carr threw it when maybe Ruggs was like 15, 20 yards barely, and I think that was like a 50 to 60 yard throw. So yeah, it was a beautiful throw. It was a beautiful play. You know, under pressure. He wasn't just sitting back there. He had to throw it. He had to get rid of it. There was a guy coming free. I think the outside linebacker, maybe. But just that play call by Gruden, and a couple other beautiful play calls, you know, a couple other beautiful. There were some times where it was like 2nd and 1, and then I think we got a sack because he tried to step back and pass it, I think, when it's 2nd and 1. But it's one of those things, like, 2nd and 1, and then we get a 20-yard pass, you totally forget it was 2nd and 1, you know what I mean? But if it's 2nd and 1 and then you do get sacked, it becomes 3rd and 9, it's like, why didn't we run when it was 2nd and 1? So it's a little hard thing. Some of the run packages, just kind of like, he'll send a guy in motion, I guess, to try to, like, just bring everybody's thought process to follow that guy, think it's going to go there or something. Maybe we could give it to Ruggs once in a while, coming off of that motion, you know? Maybe we could get Zay Jones in the game. Didn't really see Zay Jones that much. Shout out to Snead. Just remembering right now, Willie Snead got in the game and was able to get I think he got a decent reception for us. Actually, he did. I think it was a 3rd down reception he got for us. It was like a play where they had like double slants on one side. I think he was like maybe the inside slant. I think it was trips, and the inside guy and the middle guy did a slant. He was the middle guy. But Derek Carr got him, fed him pretty well. It was a very big play for us. And then we got to give a shout out to our offensive linemen. You know, we had Leatherwood go out, and we had guys step in, Illuminor. He came in for Denzel Good last week. And I mean, I think Derek Carr got sacked twice today. But he had time, you know. I think Darren was looking for something further down the field, maybe like in the middle of the field, like a 20-yard pass to 15-yard range. He had the ball in his hands for a while, so there was not really no broken coverages. It was like, what the heck was that, you know? We did have some stuff we have to clean up with the center again. There was like a botched snap again, but that was when Derek was under the center where he fumbled it. It was a bad, we had one silly drive where TJ Watt came in and stripped the ball from Derek Carr. Luckily, one of our linemen jumped on it and recovered it. And then I think it might have been the same drive where Derek Carr and Andre James, our center, they had a mishap underneath the snap. So, with the snap underneath the center. But, yeah, I got to give Tom Cable and then just our whole offensive line credit. You know, that's the foundation of our offense. That's the anchor to our offense. You know, they're very important. You know, and not only that, imagine just in a human sense, like you have to be there and just blocking a guy trying to get your guy with the ball all game, and not even just that, like guys are trying to take out your knees, or you're also having to run block, you know, and get back in the huddle. And so some of those big, huge monsters are more in shape than a lot of us humans, not humans, but civilian people who don't play professional football. So shout out to our offensive line, you know. It might have been Simpson. I think number 76, Simpson. I think he came into the game to take over for Leatherwood. Shout out to him. I think he's a Clemson guy. I think it's his second year. But we got him later in the draft, I think. Leatherwood is a first rounder. I think Simpson we got like in the 6th round or something. So yeah, Carr was playing hurt. And if you just want to sit here for a second and admire that a little bit, you know, if you're a Raider fan and Derek Carr fan, you want to admire that Carr was playing hurt after, because that guy rolled his ankle, man. And if Derek Carr was a little, maybe more closer to the guy, maybe it would have been a break, you know, or if the guy would have got there a little sooner or a little later, like, or, you know, it could have been a more freak accident, you get me? But this, luckily, it was like a tweak, and Derek was able just to spat it up and put tape on his ankle and come back in the game, you know? So, yeah, we were very fortunate, man. Very fortunate for that. But just the way he still finished the game, he got more efficient throughout the game, you know? He was very efficient towards the end of the game. I think he had like a time when he won like 7 or 8 completions in a row, you know? So he did that last week too as well. I think he finished the game like 20 for 26 after he had started probably like 2 for 7 or something. So this time we started again a little slower. We started slow again offensively with our rhythm, I would say. But like I said, our defense was there. You know, I'll get to that after we kind of sit here and just kind of think about how awesome a performance that was by Derek Carr, for him to be able to play hurt like that and like throw a bomb to Henry Ruggs and, you know, stand in the pocket and throw a beautiful strike to Foster Moreau, number 87, our tight end behind Darren Waller at the corner of the end zone. Like, that was a beautiful pass, and he has some other great passes as well. And then happy for big play Henry Ruggs. And so I'm going to kind of talk about defense right now real quick. Casey Hayward, our veteran cornerback, 32 years old. He's very experienced. He's the one that we brought in from San Diego, a very experienced player that played with Gus Bradley for many years, or I don't know, 5 years or something. I'm not going to say many years, but so he was familiar with our defense already and what was asked of him from Gus Bradley in our defense. So today was just a day they wanted to throw his way, and they were, you know, Big Ben, he's a little more stand in the pocket. He's going to hit those corner routes. He's going to hit those deep balls, those double moves. And, you know, Casey Hayward, he answered the call. He was there twice. He was on a bigger, I can't remember this guy's name, number 11 for the Steelers. He's the second-year man from Notre Dame. But anyway, he had a very big game last week. He had a big play. He had one big highlight last week when the Steelers beat the Buffalo Bills. And so they were... might have been, yeah, was it the Buffalo Bills? Yeah, I think it was the Buffalo Bills. So, but this, I think that guy had a touchdown in this game. Number 11, I think he might have had a touchdown. He had a decent game this game, but we were there. Our defense was there. Like, we were playing with a lot of physicality. We were playing fast. That's the word. We were playing very fast with a lot of speed and getting there. We were getting to the ball, you know. We were hitting, you know, so... That's the new look Raiders defense. That's the new look Raiders defense, and that's what we're about. So Casey Hayward, like I said, they try to throw a ball to that young receiver who was bigger than Casey Hayward and younger. And the guy, he was there in position, but Casey Hayward, it was one of those plays where it was like a throw and he had to bend his back, but he didn't react to the ball until the ball came to him. A lot of times you might jump too soon and you swipe at the ball and you just jump too soon. You get me? And he very smart, very in control during a high pressure situation where you're in motion, in game, the ball's in the air, and wait to the end, you know? Let my receiver reach for it so I can follow his arms. I can just swipe his arms, you get me? It's like it's like a catch over your shoulder. You just have to like let it fall onto you, you get me? So I said, you get me? So shout out Casey Hayward, man. That dude, they had to go his way. Why? Because our young bull, Trayvon Mullen, that dude's locked down. So, and then we have Denzel Perryman, who's probably only been in the building for no more than a month. The middle linebacker we had to acquire because Morrow, our key linebacker, and a rookie he got hurt. Was it Devon Diablo that got hurt? I can't remember, but Nicholas Morrow got hurt, so we brought in Denzel Perryman, who has played very fast for us. He's not the fastest guy in coverage, not the best guy in coverage, but he is physical and he will tackle. And so I appreciate the physicality he's been playing with. I really do. He's made a lot of tackles, but he didn't miss a key tackle today, which I know he probably feels he should have made. So if we clean those things up, I think, you know, imagine making that tackle, Perryman. Imagine you would have made that tackle, how it would have felt. Like, you know, it wouldn't have been a first down, because what I'm saying is when he missed that tackle, the guy ends up going for a first down. But it was a tackle he really should have made. I'm not sure who I think he might have been on Najee Harris, and Najee Harris is a big dude. So I just think he was going too fast at that moment and just maybe try to lay a big hit. Sometimes when you try to lay a big hit, you kind of bounce off the guy instead of like kind of just making sure you wrap him up, you know? And then I noticed that they were doubling our big playmaker, our defensive end, Max Crosby, our second-year man from Eastern Michigan. Everybody knows Max Crosby, right? Number 98. They were double teaming him a lot. He didn't get no sacks today, but he had a lot of pressures, you know. Although we weren't making many big plays defensively, especially from our rush, like we did last week. Ben Roethlisberger wasn't just sitting in the pocket, you know. We were causing pressure. He wasn't just sitting there, you know. There was times I seen Max getting double teamed, and instead of doing a spin move, he was bull rushing. So a couple times he laid some dudes on their butt, and even Ngakoue wasn't really there for getting sacks. You know, I didn't really see him getting a lot of real good pressure consistently, but I know that, you know, Solomon Thomas was making these big plays because of being at the right spot at the right time, because that pressure from the edge was causing him to step up into the pocket. So guys like Solomon Thomas benefited, which I'm happy for Solomon Thomas, because honestly, Solomon Thomas, I love you, man. You're like a big teddy bear guy, but sometimes I feel like you're not there mentally, man. You know, I feel like sometimes you're just like, you might be a little tired. You know, it's a tiring game, but sometimes I feel like you could be more creative when you're tired. Like, but there was some. Solomon Thomas played through the whistle for sure, because there was a play where I think the quarterback or somebody got even ahead of him, but he was still able to trip the guy up, and the guy ended up, I think they gave Solomon Thomas a sack on that play, because he was able to trip the guy up even though he got around him. So I love the hustle by Solomon Thomas, but that's just what happens when your other guys are playing hard. Other guys are benefiting, you know, just because you don't see a guy get the sack, but he might not the one that caused the pressure. Like a lot of times when a guy recovers a fumble, you know, he was just at the right place at the right time. It was the guy who stripped the ball that, you know, created that opportunity. So I think it just all works together and everything looks good. You know, everything looks good when it all works together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've played the two best defenses the first 2 weeks of the season. We played two top 10 defenses the first two games of the season. The Ravens defense last week and this defense this week. And I would say our defense looked better. You know what I mean? Our defense for sure looked better last week, and I just think we look better this week. And that's just what happens, you know? Like Derek Carr said in the interview that if it feels good, we're like, oh, we get the ball back? You know, I'm sitting here watching the game, I'm like, it's 3rd and 10 now. we should be able to get off. There's a higher possibility, and it's higher percentage, and it's just like I said, a higher possibility that a defense should be able to stop a 3rd and 10. You keep everything underneath, and that's exactly what happened. Big Ben had to throw it underneath, and you're watching the game, so that you're waiting for the camera, to kind of go to the second level. And as a Raider fan, these past years, you would be like, okay, the camera's following the guy with the ball, but you don't see a Raider coming up for a tackle until the guy's almost close to the first down. But this time you were seeing it, the guy catch like a 3-yard pass, and you would see one of our guys start coming when the guy maybe took 2 steps. You get me? So it would end up being like a 4th and 5 or a 4th and mid or 4th and short. So that's just a different thing. And there was even a time where towards the end of the game, maybe like in the end of the 3rd or somewhere in the 4th quarter, where the guy catches the ball and it was 3rd down. So the guy catches the ball. Let's say it was 3rd and 8. The guy catches it 6 yards from the line of scrimmage. So he needs to go 2 more yards. And he's leaning. And because our guy who gets the tackle, he's a little smaller. So he's got the tackle, but the other guy could kind of lean. He could fall forward. He's stronger, and like he can't break the tackle, but he's probably going to fall forward for the first down. But you see our other guys come and fill. Boom, boom, boom. And they build a wall. And it ends up being short, and you see Abram go like this, like put his hands in the air, like 4th down. And they were down by like, for sure it was a 2-possession game, so they needed to get the ball. And even if they scored, they would still have to get another stop to be able to score to get ahead. So that's called a 2-possession game. That still put the Steelers in a position. They were like, nah, we're gonna punt right here. I was like, dude, why are you gonna punt? It's a 2-possession game. And like, you can only hold the Raiders for so long right now. I feel like we're a team with a lot more endurance. We're younger, more hungrier. I feel like we're able to last more. So towards the end of the game, you saw we were able to run the ball. You saw Brian Edwards, number 89, our 2nd-year wide receiver, catch the ball, break a tackle, and a guy comes in. Our guy playing with that fire and that rhythm and that, like, we're going to win, that extra energy that comes alive towards the end of the game. And like, be more physical and get a first down, break a couple tackles. A play that should have been like 3rd and short ended up, a play that should have ended on 3rd and short on a 2nd down and long play ends up being a first down. And it's like it's a morale killer for the other team who's down by 2 possessions. You get me? So those type of plays are very key. I wish I could show you on the highlights, but no, it was just our team going to the ball, wanting to get the tackle, wanting to get the stop, playing with some sort of pride, playing to win. We have a lot of young players, man. We have a lot of young players and we have a lot of veterans that want something to prove. We just have a certain attitude and mentality, So I might be getting ahead of myself, but I kind of had a little thought during the game, like, maybe Bill Belichick wouldn't be having all those Super Bowls if John Gruden was still in the league. And one of my favorite players, man, because, like, honestly, I love this position. In high school, I used to play the defensive back position. I played cornerback, and I played a little bit of safety. I played safety in one game. I don't know if one of our players got hurt. I'm not sure why they needed me at safety. It was actually my junior year of high school when the last time I ever played safety. And I liked it because coming up for a hit at safety is just a straight up hit. Like, it's like this. But on cornerback, a lot of times you have to, like, a cornerback, sometimes you feel like you're left like in a fucked up position sometimes. Because in cornerback, sometimes like you'll be on your guy, like he'll be running deep or something, or you just be on him, and all of a sudden you look back and your linebackers didn't make the tackle, your defensive line didn't make the tackle, and you're like the last guy to have to make that tackle on that side. Get me? But as a safety, you're already focused on the whole kind of maybe your half or your whole third or the whole field in front of you. So if they run the ball, you have a chance because that running back, he's focusing more on the line. He's focusing more on the line, getting through the line. So he doesn't really focus. You can kind of slither your way for a good tackle. You can kind of hide and come up and just smack him. He won't even see you as a safety. You get me? But sometimes on a corner, you're left on an island. Sometimes, like I'm saying, they might do a pitch out or they might do a reverse, and that running back sees an open field, but he just sees you. And I've been run over before, like boom, like trucked, in football before, You know, I wasn't the best leg tackler. You know, a lot of corners are very finesse. Like they could like just kind of go low on you and stuff, or trip you up with their arms and stuff. Corners are they're very athletic. So, but I think a really cool position to play is the nickel corner. And our rookie, Nate Hobbs, number 39, great tackling, beautiful tackling. Raider fans know what I'm talking about. Nate Hobbs, man, beautiful tackling. And my guy, Jonathan Abram, number 24. I don't know what he is. He's the Troy Polamalu position. I don't know what he is. But during the game, he gets tossed. He's our physical guy. He's our safety. He's our guy that's smacking people. He's our guy being annoying on the field, talking trash, hitting people after the whistle, you know, pushing a guy from behind when the refs aren't looking, you know, just being annoying. He's our guy, you know, but he comes up and he tries to tackle Najee Harris. I want to give him a shout out because he's a California high school legend and playing high school football. He played for a school up north. He went to Alabama. You know, he was very like a 5-star recruit, like the best high school player coming out of high school. But, you know, he stood at Alabama. I'm not sure if he graduated, but I know he played 4 years at Alabama. In high school, if you're a stud, sometimes you come out early. You'll come out after your sophomore year or after your junior year. But this guy stood at Alabama until he was a senior. I think he's the same age, or he might be older than Henry Ruggs. Not Henry Ruggs or Henry Ruggs, but he might be older than Josh Jacobs, who's our second-year guy, who's hurt, you know, who we still got the win even without Josh Jacobs. I forgot about that. So Abram gets tossed. He comes in he tries to tackle the guy like at the chest area or the shoulders, and the guy just throws him off him and like pushes him. You know, Najee Harris is a big back, you know, and it looked like, you know, I was saying in my head, if my teammate or a player on my team that I was coaching did that to the other team's player, and that other team's player was their bulldog, was their pit bull, was their main guy that hits people like that, if my guy did that to their guy, and I look back on my bench, and not every player is cheering, whoever's not fired up by that play, they're not meant to be on my team. What I'm saying is, like, when Najee Harris threw Abrams like that, I'm sure the Pittsburgh bench was like, wow. Like I'm saying, if I look back and my players weren't hyped by that play, I'm like, this is the wrong sport for you. You get me? You know, that should have been a fired up. You know, they would have seen me like getting crazy for that play. They'd been like, you know, Coach Rivera, he's a young coach, man. He's more hyped than the players. You know, like, because you get some old coaches where they become old men and they're just like, it doesn't excite me no more or whatever. But you know, I was keeping an eye on Abrams after that. I was like, where's his mentality? Is he not in the game no more? Does he, like, want to get down? But that's a selfish way of thinking. You're like, oh, I look stupid. You know, I got ran over. You know, I'm not going to be focused. I'm going to give up. Nah, he still played. I seen him. He was still playing hard. He still laid hits. He was still coming up for tackles. He was still filling his gap. He was doing his assignments. So, shout out to you, Abrams, my dog. Trayvon Mullen, our other cornerback, playing alongside Casey Hayward. He's our third-year man, Trayvon Mullen, I think. He's actually the cousin of Lamar Jackson, who we played last week. But Trayvon Mullen, number 27, you know, very quiet guy, has very quiet games. He had an interception this game. He was a bad throw by Big Ben. His guy was blanketed. Trayvon Mullen was doing his job. He had his high third. He didn't let his guy get behind him. When you play cover 3, that's what happens a lot. If there's an overthrow and that quarterback overthrows it, since it's a cover 3, you're supposed to be behind. You have the deep thirds. The guy underneath you is either you're going to be the nickel corner or is going to be the outside linebacker. So a lot of times, if a quarterback has an overthrow on a cover 3, especially if the guy's supposed to do like a sit-down route or a deep out, you know, or a corner, sometimes the quarterback throws it over, or not a corner or a post route. I remember in high school, I played deep third, and a lot of times I got a lot of interceptions off of the quarterback throwing it over the guy because I was behind him to make that play. So what happens is if they try to throw a slant or something, you got to come up from behind them, get your hand over them. You know where, depending on where the ball's at, you get that hand closest in front of the guy to swat his hands down or swat the ball out of his hands or swat the ball down and have your other hand behind his back, like in the shoulder area. So you're coming over like that. You know, you're swiping it over the guy. So you've seen exactly what happened. Big Ben overthrows it. Trayvon Mullen is right there. You know, the guy underneath You know, that pass was not gonna work. So that's what happened. So what I'm saying is, Trayvon Mullen, in that position, when a guy's quiet, you don't hear about him a lot. You're probably not gonna hear a lot about the receiver he's guarding either, because he's probably not open. So our interior line, Quinn Jefferson. I was like, who's that guy? Quinn Jefferson. He looks in shape, man. He's built for a defensive end position, and he was there causing a lot of havoc. He was there run stops. He was there getting pressure on the interior. You know, on pass plays. Darius Philon, you know, he missed a couple tackles today, I seen, but you know, other than that, he wasn't looking like a clown out there. Again, like, they weren't talking a lot about him messing up. So Hankins was doing his thing. Hankins, I think he might have got a sack today, or he might have caused a sack today. But anyway, I think our defensive line, you know, it's kind of hard to have a game like we did last week. Last week was just, you know, we had our whole. It was an early game today. It was a short week, especially for a position like that where you're constantly banging. Your body's probably sore as hell. Every play you have a 6'5" plus 300-pound dude trying to stop you and push at your chest and push you away and push you down, and he's using his hands and hitting your arms and pushing your neck, and you know what I'm saying? Like, or they're constantly pushing. So, I mean, it was a short week. So, we're gonna be at home this week. We're gonna be at our facilities, you know, doing our thing, you know, doing our our body, what do they call it? Our body healing, or your recovery. So yeah, so like, you hardly see any amazing like, you see amazing catches in the NFL, you do, but it's like a lot of amazing body catches or like over the shoulder catches. You hardly see any like the guy go up and grab it and the ball, like, well, because the player I'm talking about is Hunter Renfrow, and he's not that big, you know, he's not that big. So when he goes up to try to make a catch, it looks like the ball could rip his shoulders off. It's like, how did he make that catch? That ball like will take him somewhere. But he made a catch today. And I'm not talking about the one where he caught the ball and he spun. Like, every time he catches the ball, it's when he's going one direction. And I know what he does. He tells himself, he controls his body enough to where he can stop, catch the ball, and spin the other way, because the defender's just going to spin off of him. And he did that again. He did that last week, and he did that today. But I'm talking about the catch. He even made a catch on a corner route last week. I think it was an out route or a corner route where he caught the ball, where the ball like pretty much takes him. It's like he did that again today. And then he makes another play today where Derek had to kind of run out towards the right and looking for an open man. So a lot of times when that happens, if you're running this way, sometimes your guy, they lose him coming over here. So that throw, when he's going this way, he has to kind of throw it back that way. And sometimes that'll cause a big hit, because a linebacker, he's kind of more parallel and linear with you. He sees you throwing it back this way to your guy across the field, he'll just turn around and he could just kind of like lay the guy out. Well, Hunter Renfrow, he could have been selfish. He could have seen exactly what I'm saying. He could have said, nah, this is a dangerous, this is throwing it back across the field, which is dangerous for me, because now I'm running towards a guy that could just turn around, who's completely stopped, and just lay me out. So that forces a pretty big hit. So that's exactly what happened. Hunter Renfrow, he didn't care. He said, if I run over here, I'm open enough where I will catch the ball and I will take a hit, but I would have bailed my guy out. Like, if he didn't run with the quarterback, or if he didn't bother to go into that zone, Derek Carr would have had to throw it away, or maybe ran out of bounds, or who knows, you know? But there goes Renfrow, risking himself for the team to get a first down. He catches the ball. Boom, he gets hit. He gets up. He gives a wink to Derek Carr like, I seen it, dog. Don't trip. Like, I knew what I was doing, you know? That's exactly the what I got from that. And Hunter Renfrow, man, that guy is like, the name of like a Dave Casper, Cliff Branch, I mean, that guy is a champion. That guy's a champion, man. And I have a good feeling about this team, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So our two starting cornerbacks are, like I said, Trayvon Mullen, our third year guy out of Clemson. But he's been starting since he was a rookie. It's been already so fast, man. It's already going to be the third week of the season. It's going to be his third week of the season. So he's like a 2-year, 2-week player. But Trayvon Mullen, man, he's been starting. So he's starting on his starting corner. And then you got Casey Hayward. And then you got our nickel guy, Nate Hobbs, a rookie. He's really made that position his own, you know. But going back to our guy, Damon Arnett, he was was he our first round pick 2 years ago? This is his second year. He was hurt last year, and I just don't think he's that consistent enough for the coaches to trust that they could start him. So, and he kind of really, Casey Hayward played a lot of snaps today, man. You know, you see Arnett coming in towards the end of the game. I think he got beat on a play, and it wasn't necessary that he got beat. It's just he got beat, and he. I don't want to say he didn't know, or I just feel like he beat himself up. Like he knew he got beat, so he thought he was at practice, and like because in the NFL, if I catch the ball and I fall I fall to the ground, but nobody's touched me, I could get back up and run. You get me? Because there's a rule in college football or in high school football. Once I hit the ground, I can't get back up and run. But in the pros, if you fall, hit the ground, and you get back up, as long as nobody touched you or nobody caused you to hit the ground, then you could get back up and run. Because a lot of times on a pass, I might have to dive for the ball, but I could get back up and run before somebody even touches me. So that's why that rule's created. I think in college, I don't know why, maybe they want to slow the game down. That's just a different rule in college. It's like in college, when you catch the ball, you could get 1 foot in bounds. In the NFL, you have to get 2 feet in bounds for it to be an official catch, completion, reception. So the only issue I had is as a defensive back, you're going to get beat, especially a cornerback. That's why they pay them a lot of money when they're really, really good. Because that's one of the hardest positions to play, because you're by yourself necessarily. Like on the line, you could kind of blame another guy or something, you know, for not calling the play out. But as a corner, your guy's going to catch the ball. It's like playing basketball and like getting mad and wanting to quit once the guy scores on you in basketball, or once you might miss a shot. It's about your next shot. It's about the next shot. It's about winning the game. You know, obviously you got to make one once in a while. You know, you got to make a good play. You got to make a pass breakup. You got to get a tackle once in a while. You got to complete the ball once in a while. You got to get a good run once in a while. You get me? You got to get a sack once in a while. You know, you got to do something good once in a while. That should be like the knowledge of life, I guess. It's like you're gonna miss, you're gonna fail, you're gonna give up a pass. You know, you might drop the ball once in a while, but so I just think on that play when Arnett, you know, got beat, it's like he just ran by the guy. He didn't even bother touching the guy, because the guy caught the ball, like foul on the ground. But Arnett, like at the same time, he knew the guy was gonna catch it because he could see it. He kind of just like ran past the guy. And the guy was able to get up and run a couple more yards or whatever. I think, I can't remember, but that's the only issue I kind of had, is that Arnett kind of got down on himself. But I put right here that maybe a drive later or a couple plays later, I can't remember, he had a really good pass breakup where like he deflected the ball. Like he was there, the pass, like the quarterback assumed his player was open, and Arnett had great technique. Went over the shoulder, put his hand in front of him, knocked the ball out. I think it was beautiful. And our safety, Trevor Moehrig. I didn't say Moehrig. Moehrig. He's our rookie. I think he's from TCU, Texas Christian University. But that dude's always in position. And just like Trayvon Mullen, you don't hear a lot about Morik is because he's just there doing his job. He's there being the safety. He's a safety net. He's the last line of defense, and he's doing his job. When you see them catching a ball over our head or throwing a bomb on us wide open, and that's when you're gonna hear about Trayvon Mullen. Otherwise he's gonna be making a great tackle, or he's gonna be intercepting the ball, or he's gonna be knocking the ball down. In that position, it's either you're doing something really bad or you're making a big play. So, and that's the safety. Safety position is the last line of defense on any defense. And like I said, another beautiful thing, and I noticed this last week. Like I was saying before, I think last week we looked like the fresher team. I feel like our guys were able to. That's why we won last week against the Ravens, because we were there to play throughout the whole game. If there was another 2 quarters to play, I think we were gonna pull away. I think I just felt like just think our team's younger, we're more hungrier, and I don't know. I just the reason why I bring up last week is I felt the same way this week. We were able to run the ball at the end. Barber was able to get like 2 8+ yard rushes. I think one was for like 10, one was for like 12 yards, and we were just able to close the game out. Even when they knew we were gonna run, we were just able to do it. And I just think because, when they're trying to make a comeback and then we throw a bomb on 3rd and 10, it's just demoralizing. It's just like they give up after that. Like, okay, we're willing to fight. We brought it into 1 possession. We're down by 4, we're down by 3. If we get a stop here, we still have a chance to get the ball and score, and we can win. But when it's 3rd and 10 and we throw a bomb on them, they're like, and then we're able to get stops. Like I said, there's some stuff we had to clean up. There was some snap troubles. TJ Watt had a strip sack. We recovered the fumble. I just think, there was a couple things. But they had a very loud crowd as well. You could tell from the beginning of the game. Even our hand signals were a little different. We're kind of using hand signals opposed to verbal signals. But I think once we got more Derek Carr got comfortable within the game, he started being more, started checking more, But I'm sure it was a loud atmosphere. Yeah, I think, not to complain, we had a TD called back. It was a holding call on Alex Leatherwood, where Derek Carr found Bryan Edwards in the middle of the end zone for a crossing route where he hit him. It was a horrible call. They called Waller. They got our rookie right tackle for like a hook. He literally didn't even grab the guy. He just it was too fast of a play to call hold on that. He didn't even have enough time to hold. There should be another play having the bad technique or a reaching call or something. That should not have been a holding call for 10 yards. We ended up having to settle for a field goal. Back to that Carter Ruggs under pressure. Ruggs had to go field it. As soon as the ball's thrown, you got to go to the ball. You got to run to it. It's exactly what Carr said on this post-game interviews. That Carr said, once I threw it up, you could see Ruggs just look where the ball's going to be and then chased it. You got to kind of it's like a quarterback, he's not necessarily throwing to the receiver because the receiver has to run. If I'm throwing to exactly where the receiver's at right now, he's not going to be there by the time the ball gets there because he's already running to a certain direction. So a quarterback has to just already see the spot in his head and throw it. And that timing, he's hoping it's there. Same thing with the wide receiver. As soon as that ball's in the air, you got to kind of know where I think it's going to be once it's getting towards the ground. You get what I'm saying? Once it's, so it was just, I think Derek Carr threw it as far as he could, to be honest with you. From the position he was in, he just launched it up, and it was enough. It was enough, and I was just trying to visualize that because I played wide receiver as well, and imagine just catching that ball, being Henry Ruggs, being the one to catch that ball. It was beautiful, man. It was a huge play since the Steelers brought the game within 1 possession deficit, and Carr was hurt. because that was already after when he got hurt, I think in the second quarter. And when he got hurt, it was beautiful. We seen the team came to check on him. You know, it kind of made us nervous as fans watching the game. Like, damn, like is he screaming right there? Does it look like it's broken? Like, you know, they're all going next to him, but they were like praying for him. And I knew Derek Carey was praying for him. It was a beautiful thing to see that. And it just shows like Derek Carr is just one of the guys this team sees. Like, he's a good dude. You know, he's not a dickhead. You know, he's not. You kind of feel for the guy because he does work hard. You know, and damn, he's hurt. Like, motherfuckers carrying our team, you know. So then I even wrote, imagine being Ruggs running for that catch, full speed with a helmet and shoulder pads on. You know, in Heinz Field, the away crowd. That was beautiful. What a highlight. And on one of the camera angles, I seen Cleveland Farrell on the sideline, but he wasn't playing, but I seen him. He was suited up. Foster Moreau, beautiful TD pass, and a beautiful way for Foster Moreau to shield off his defender once he knew, okay, my defender's already behind me, but I'm going towards the corner of the end zone, so I'm going to slow down a little bit and let Derek Carr just throw it over me where the only person that can catch it is me. As long as he doesn't throw it too far. That's exactly what happened. Beautiful, accurate throw under pressure, and even a smarter way for Foster Moreau to have recognition to know, I'm already behind my guy. When you run a corner route, that's what you want. You want to get on top of your guy. You want to stack the DB. Stacking means you want to get on top of him. You know, it's like when you're running a deep ball, once you get behind your guy, you can just make sure you kind of box him out and run in front of him. And, you know, a lot of times that's like a fade route. That's like the purpose of a fade route where, you know, I'm pretty much shielding you off. And, you know, my guy, it's like when you're down low in basketball and you're like behind your guy, like just toss it over him. He's too small. You know, it's the same positioning. Like tight ends are pretty good at it. It's exactly what Foster Moreau did. I just thought it was a beautiful, and that was the play that Derek Carr ended up getting hurt. So it was a beautiful throw. And there wasn't a lot of missed throws that Derek Carr should have made this game, like last week. There was a lot of throws you're like, damn, Derek, he was open. You should have been able to hit him, but he kind of threw it behind the guy or something. And so there was a couple misses today that I didn't really see no throws at all that he should have made that he didn't. You know, other than that, there might have been, you know, just some throws to throw the ball away or, you know, throws in tight coverage, things like that. So, but I believe there was a play where I saw another guy open, and I even seen, I seen the deeper route was open, but Derek ended up, I think, like throwing the ball away or like running for it or something happened. And at the same time I seen it during the game, I seen John Gruden like yell like, what the fuck? I don't know if he was telling the guy upstairs or Greg Olsen or if he was talking to Carr, like, why the fuck didn't you throw the ball? Like, I'm sure he probably talked to him like a friend or something, like, bro, you didn't see the fucking guy open? Like, but that was earlier in the game. And like I mentioned, Derek Carrier, our third tight end, was there praying for Derek Carr when he got hurt, if you guys were watching the game. But he also made some key catches during this game. He made some key catches, some not very big plays, but he was very efficient, very clutch. I like to see the spreading of the ball around, you know. And Dalvin Levitt, I think that's his name, number 32. See, on the Raiders defense, they use a package where they only have one linebacker. And they'll have like 3 safeties and 3 corners. That's 7 players and 4 down linemen. And Dalvin Levitt, they bring him to be like that like strong safety. Because they use Abrams that goes back and forth. But they were actually using Dalvin Levitt to guard the running back. I was watching. But one play, Dalvin Levitt, he was just playing the ball, but he like came in. The offensive guy was about to catch it. Dalvin Levitt lays a hit. He kind of hurt his neck a little bit. It was a little dangerous hit for himself. I'm not saying it was a dirty hit, but for himself, because he kind of used his head and his neck to like dislodged the ball, and he got a pass breakup, but he also hurt himself. So, right here at the post-game interviews that they had, they didn't mention him. They probably, I don't know, hope he's all right. So these are just some, I guess, comments of the game, I would say, or things I felt. So our offense has faced two of the best defenses, and our defense seems to look better. I think I mentioned that earlier. I want to tell you guys, like, what's my character during the game? Like, how do I act during the game? You probably trip out, like, when the Raiders make a big play or like something. You won't even see me scream like, ah! Not right now. It's the second week of the season. You might see that, like, in the playoffs when I'm biting my nails, but it's been I haven't seen this team in the Super Bowl for 20 years, and every year is a headache. Sometimes I would tell myself, why am I a Raider fan, man? Why am I a Raiders fan for? I should just give up on this team, man. I should give up on this organization, this business. Why do I want to be a Raiders fan for? You would even be like, this guy's a weirdo. I say things like, man, this has to be fake. This is stupid. Football's fake. It's all planned out, I say stupid things like that. It's like you've been let down so much. So that's why I was like, I want to tell the audience, like, I'm just there watching it. Like, I even, like, during the commercials and halftime, I'm watching the other videos on YouTube, and I'm just like, okay, don't get too, I'm just totally, I'd rather be, like, more disappointed. Like, I'd rather stay right here than be like, yes, let's go. So if you see me watching the game, you'll probably be like, okay. I like to watch it. Again, Solomon Thomas making plays because of our outside pressure, which I'm happy for the guy. I'm happy for Solomon. He's a good dude, but I just think that he could be a little more intelligent when he's playing. Sometimes he plays with a lot of energy. Like today, he totally missed a tackle because he just ran by the guy. Shout out to Melvin Gordon. He used to play for the Chargers, but he was out there today playing for the Steelers. Like I said, I'm glad Arnett got in and was able to get that PBU, that pass breakup. Corey Littleton, man, he was there. I seen him, there filling gaps. There was a lot of talk about him not being able to stop the run and only being more of a outside linebacker to kind of guard these athletic tight ends. But I like the way he was playing, And there was multiple times when these guys would make good plays and they would not give up on a play and make a tackle. And, one time it happened with Max Crosby where he wasn't there to get he kind of over pursued the guy, or maybe the run was going away from him, but he was still fighting around that block. And that guy was trying to find a hole, and he kind of was getting stuck behind one of his offensive linemen, and Max Crosby comes and makes a really good tackle that was off a second effort. And you hear somebody from the sideline saying, there you go, Max. There you go, Max. And then Corey Littleton makes a really good run stop, and you hear one of the guys from the sideline say, there you go, Littleton. Or no, there you go, Corey. Good job, Corey, because his name's Corey Littleton. There you go, Corey. And there was those are two significant plays, because at the same time I was like, dude, those are great efforts by both of those dudes, and but you also hear, and the first time in a while for me especially, I was hearing, maybe because I'm stoned or I'm faded or I'm just more like excited to watch these guys that I'm paying attention, but I just feel like it was like something new that I was hearing, even guys on the sideline, like, not worrying about they're watching the game, like bigging up the guys, you know what I'm saying? Bigging up your team, giving you guys a lot of love and stuff, giving them some encouragement. Illuminor, the guy who came in like in the second half when Denzel Good went out last week and made a pancake on Josh Jacobs' 15-yard run for a touchdown. Illuminor, like I said, he wasn't getting a lot of airtime today. You know why? Because he was doing his job. A lot of times these offensive linemen only get love when they're going off sides, or not love, but they only get noticed on TV when they go off sides, or they commit penalties, or they're letting guys go when they're giving up sacks. Like shout out our whole offensive line. Shout out to every single offensive lineman. I hope Alex Leatherwood gets healthy. Hope we can see Incognito. That's super unfortunate. I'm really upset about Incognito. You know, I don't know. I don't know. It's different. You know, in high school, you get a little nick. You're gonna want to play because you feel like this might be my last high school game ever. But when you're in the pros, you're just older and you think about money. And you're like, it's probably not the best. You're making more business moves. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, you see T.J. Watt feel like all of a sudden he had like this groin, and he just didn't want to play no more. He checked out. Like it was, I don't know. He just got paid 2 weeks ago. Now he's the highest paid defensive player, and I don't know. I guess a week 2 win isn't that important, but hey, now you're just trying to be smart, I guess. And then the interview right here, shout out Fresno State football, Fresno State Bulldogs football, because they beat UCLA yesterday. UCLA was actually ranked number 13 and looking like a very strong team, and they're still ranked. I think they're like 22 or 21 now in the top 25 best college football teams in the United States. But Fresno State pulled up an upset. They beat UCLA yesterday. And Fresno State's quarterback, he looks like a baller, man. I didn't watch the game, I watched the highlights, but I was glad that Carr brought it up because he's a Fresno guy. And when I watched the highlights yesterday, I was thinking about Carr. Like, I wonder if he watched the game because, you know, that's his alma mater. That's where he came from. So, I said they beat UCLA. They have a really good quarterback. Looking forward to see where his career goes. They're also ranked now. Fresno State's ranked. And not only did Henry Ruggs make obviously that deep ball, he went deep. He did a bomb, a neighborhood bomb where you just toss it up and your homie's the fast one. He goes and gets it. Reminds me of my cousin Nick and I when we were younger. He was always a quarterback. I love when he was a quarterback. But not only did Ruggs, you know, have his speed, he also caught like this slant route where he broke the first tackle. He was looking strong. You know, it's a strong man right there. He's very small in stature, but don't underestimate him. Just like Renfro. Renfro making guys miss with his little spin. I call it the spin back move, the pivot spin. You know, where you like spin the opposite way. It's like when you get the ball down low on the post and your guys, or you're leaning on him or he's leaning on you and you use his leverage and just spin around him. It's kind of like what Renfro does. And then towards the end of the game, you know, Edwards, like I said, Brian Edwards, our very physical wide receiver, he's able to break tackles, you know, to close out the game. And you got Barber, our running back, who we barely picked up last week because Josh Jacobs is down. He's able to pick up first downs at the end of the game to keep the clock running to just end the game. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I'm just watching this, man. I'm just watching Derek Carr on the podium after this game and just watch his maturity and just watching, just kind of reflecting on myself as a human, as a Raider fan, like not seeing the future, but wanting to win now, you know, wanting to win. So tired of losing, but wanting to win even when I knew we weren't going to win, you know, watching the game, just being a fan, like we could still win, but knowing, like not really thinking, but just kind of going off of like the love for the team, but not thinking like, you know, our team's not that good, you know, or not being smart enough to see the future. Like, damn, Derek Carr, I feel like this guy has been the Raiders quarterback forever, and he's only on his 8th year, you know, even the way the guys were talking before the game, the analysts, the guys who do the play-by-play, they're like, oh, the game versus the 2 veteran quarterbacks, but like Roethlisberger's been around 13, 14 years, and Derek Carr's only been around 8 years. And I mean, this is his prime right now, Derek Carr, you know. There's guys like Mahomes. Yeah, he's been in the Super Bowl twice, but yeah, he's won one, but will he ever win one again? You know, I mean, you see, Derek Carr just has to win one Super Bowl, and he's like matched up with all these guys, like, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, right? It's like one of these things where, okay, he's never won a Super Bowl, but all his numbers match up with these guys. He's as efficient in completion percentage, QB rating, you know, your touchdown to turnover ratio. He has all these stats, like he's good, but his wins and losses aren't as good, right? He's been known to lose, been known to lose. And yeah, these guys come in the league hot and they're young and they win early. You know, but everybody's chapters come at different times, you get me? So, you know, last week when you seen the Manning brothers do the little Monday night, you know, live stream, and they're saying, oh, that's a 6-10 team, or or you know what I'm saying, or Russell Wilson's on there like talking this high IQ football, but he's seeming like a guy who's talking to a person that's not on his level. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, they should run this and this, and they should really check to this and this. But you see them, they're commentating, and they're watching Derek Carr come back. They're watching him, what he did, the throws he made to Brian Edwards. I think someone might be here. Get what I'm saying? And they're like, because they've won one Super Bowl, so they're put on that, you know, that one Super Bowl. But that dude won a Super Bowl like 6 years ago. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl like 10 years ago. Peyton Manning only won one Super Bowl. But it's that championship that separates stuff. But all Carr has to do is get one. And that's just silly, you know? So it's a beautiful thing that his brother was like a joke of the league, you know? He took over for an expansion team, or he took over for a new franchise, the Houston Texans. You know, they didn't have nobody. And he was getting sacked. He was getting swallowed and suffocated. And Derek Carr was a 12-year-old kid having to see his brother David go through all that. You know, the media talking about him. Seeing his mom and dad having to console their brother for his career, seeming like a failure. But Derek Carr, look at him. You know, not being smart enough to know that he's gonna have a time where you can't take time away from nobody. 8-year pro. That dude is he is a master at his craft. You know what I mean? So, and I wouldn't look at the smile. Look at that. He's tired. He's tired of having to answer questions. He's already on to Miami. So that was my reaction.